Good night, good night, good night. Welcome, 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 one and all. Good evening. Welcome to the show. Welcome back. I did tell you guys last night that I'll be back this evening for another show. It's so good to be back with you on right here. Want to let everybody know, welcome to the show. We have an interesting discussion going on here this evening. Share the live as soon as you come on. Share the live. We're going to be talking to Mrs. Joseph from the Electoral Office, the Dominica Electoral Office. So this is going to be a good conversation. I mean, I have so many questions, and I'm sure she's ready to respond to my so many questions. I'm sure you have so many questions as well. But we're hoping that we could spread the information so that everyone can know their rights, their responsibilities as citizens of the Commonwealth of Dominica. So welcome to the show, wherever you're tuned in from. If you're locked in on YouTube, good evening to you. Let us know that you're locked in on YouTube. If you're locked in on Facebook, let us know that you're on Facebook. Let us know also where you're hailing from. So we'd like to know where you're located. So if you're in Grand Fond, drop the Grand Fond below. If you're out of Dominica, drop the flag. We want to know where we are engaging our viewers from. All right. Welcome to the show. My name is Jael Joseph. It's good to be back on here again. And just want to say special thanks to my sponsors. Without them, listen, let me tell you, like I say to people, hey, you can donate. Yeah, you can subscribe to my channel on Facebook if you'd like to support. You can subscribe on Facebook. You can also subscribe on Patreon. It's literally 99 cents a month to support the work that I continue to do. It's a lot of effort to do this. Let me tell you, it takes a lot of effort to even be here this evening. I could be upstairs with helping my children with their homework, right? But I'm here talking electoral office, so elections and voter confirmation and all of that good stuff. So I want to encourage you, if you'd like to be part of the support on my channel, you can subscribe to my subscribers on Facebook, or you can join my Patreon. But I want to say special thanks to the folks in Dominica, the local enterprises and establishments that have continued to support my initiatives over the years, over the months. Most of them have been with me for a considerably long period of time. And I'm so eternally grateful to them for their support. Organizations like the National Cooperative Credit Union and NCCU, as you know, they have us covered with loans of up to $10,000 with their Get It Now. So for more information, you can always call the NCCU at 255-2126 or WhatsApp. That's 275-3418. You can visit any NCCU branch. Don't wait. You can get it now with NCCU. And don't forget, you can bank anytime with NCCU, anywhere with CU Online. Swipe freely worldwide with your NCCU International debit card. Your money, your way, your NCCU. Also want to say special thanks to Perky's Pizza. If you're craving pizza, you can skip the line. Perky's delivers fast, fresh, and straight to you. Your favorite pizzas, wings, and everything in between is just a click away. You can order and pay online at perkyspizza.online. That's www.perkyspizzaonline with Shop DM Pay. No lines, no hassles. Just hot, delicious food delivered straight to your door. And good news for students. If you're a student, this is like the last term. Some people are in their final semester. The student ID discount card is back, and it's running all through this month, throughout the rest of the semester. You can order online. You get a discount. You can order in person. Why not? All right, so visit perkyspizza.online and dig in today. Also want to say special thanks to another one of my most valued sponsors, Best Price Dominica. You can spend $100 or more at Best Price for a chance to win a 2-night all-inclusive, all expensive, paid weekend at one of Dominica's most exclusive resorts. That is Secret Bay Resort. The winner will also enjoy two VIP Jazz and Creole tickets plus spending money. So you can visit Best Price. This promotion also goes on a cash and carry, and it goes up until the 24th of April. So up until the 24th of April, you have an opportunity to spend $100 for a chance to win that 2 night all expense paid weekend at Secret Bay Resort. And happening in Fresh Market HBC, the upcoming contest with yours truly, Foxy JL. Well, in my Foxy JL mode, and Fresh Market HBC, you can record your video using a comment and show us your top 5 picks. So you're just telling us which top 5 things that you choose or you shop for at the HBC, and you could be winning yourself a $200 voucher. It's still up for grabs. It's not so much longer. Tomorrow, we're receiving all videos. We want to receive all videos by tomorrow. So submit your videos by tomorrow for a chance to win $200 gift voucher. Get your makeup, get your lipstick, get your eyelashes, get your press on nails, get your body wash, for the weekend that's coming up soon. Also want to big up Master Assist. For over 30 years, families in Dominica have trusted Master Assist to be there when medical emergencies happen, and they continue that commitment today. So since 1994, they've helped members that need emergency medical transportation far from home, giving you peace of mind during some of life's most difficult moments. When specialized treatment is needed or required, Master Assist helps coordinate eligible emergency flights to the nearest appropriate medical facility. When you're ready, they're also there to help bring you back home. So check out Master Assist. It's one of the organizations that support this right here. Also want to big up two of our sponsors joining us here this evening, just for this evening, the Glam Day Spa Experience, as well as Crazy Carrot joins us. I see Miranda. Miranda is locked in from New Jersey. Good evening to you, Miranda. Thank you very much for joining us. We're going to take a short break. We have a whole hour. We're here for a whole hour. We're going to be running almost a whole hour. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to be joined by Miss Anthea Joseph right here on the show. So stay tuned.
I get up.
Boy, I hungry.
Wait, come see that.
Take advantage of Perky's Pizza's college student discount. Spend $10 to $50 and get 10%.
All right, we're back, guys. We're back. Welcome back. Those of you who are tuning in, if you're just logging on, we are we're going to be joining Miss Anthea Joseph, who is the Chief Electoral Officer in Dominica. We're going to be talking all things voters confirmation, registering to vote, and all of the questions that my followers and viewers have probably had for quite some time. And they're not sure, about certain things. I'm not sure about certain things and certain processes. So I personally want to be informed tonight. I'm going to be, sometimes I say I play devil's advocate, but sometimes I don't know. And when I don't know, I'm not afraid to say Mopasa, right? And if I don't know, I want to be informed. I want to know. I think, one of the things that I learned, over the last couple of weeks, just kind of following local government elections and not really being submerged into it, because I was never really submerged into Dominican electoral processes. And a huge part of that is because I became an adult in Canada. So let me just clear the air on that. I became an adult in Canada, and the first time I would have even thought of voting or being part of that process, I would have been 29 years old. I had already spent half my life, most of my time outside of Dominica. I did learn the Canadian system and how it worked, mostly because when I did one of my degrees, I do have a minor in politics, in Canadian politics. So I learned a lot about that. So I'm very familiar with that process. And I always said, I'm not interested in Dominican politics. I'm not interested in this. I'm not interested in, I just want to mind my business and drink my water. But we all, as Dominicans, as citizens of Dominica, it is our right to know. It is our responsibility to also participate. And I'm glad that, the chief electoral officer can take time out of her busy schedule, to come and speak with us and share information with you. And I think everybody should get to know the information as it pertains to whether voting, as it pertains to confirmation, because a lot of things have changed over the years. What we may have been accustomed to, or what we may have known to be the process in Dominica, things have changed. And we want to talk to her about that. We want her to share about that. I also want to urge you to be very respectful to my guests. I will not be afraid to bump you the hell off of my page. So please be respectful, because sometimes people get angry, they get upset, and they think that is the person's fault or whatnot. She's here to do her job, and I want you to be, please, respectful of her role, her position. If you have questions, you can submit your questions. We'll do our best to get every single question in. I myself have questions as well, so we'll be asking the questions. But we're here to be informed as citizens of Dominica. And if you're outside of Dominica, you're not from Dominica and you're logged in, you also can learn about the processes that are available right here in Dominica. So without further ado, I want to welcome, for the very first time to the program, the Chief Electoral Officer, Miss Anthea Joseph. Good evening.
Hi, good evening. Good evening, viewers. Good evening, Jael. It's a pleasure
Hi.
to be here tonight.
It's wonderful to have you on. It's a long time coming.
Yes, it
Are
is.
you excited to be here?
I am, of course.
do you consider yourself your job an exciting job?
Well, kind of. But I'm happy to be here that I can share information to the public, and to dispel some of the, the misconceptions of the entire process, and
Yes.
just to give you direction tonight as to what is the confirmation process about, and how easy it is, and how user friendly it is when you get to the confirmation centers.
Wonderful. First, before we get started, tell us a little bit about you. What you do, and what is your day like at the electoral office?
Well, it's very hectic, I must say. During this season, it's a busy season. From the time I came in here to the electoral office, it has been very extremely busy, and I came in here and I had to really put together this, all what you see is going on, um, all what the confirmation process that is going on. There are a lot of happenings that we had to put in place to have this program up and running, and it's always a busy day for me. It's never a day of quiet. I have three cell phones, one desk phone. And the staff always pull on me during the day for directions, from queries from the public, and also the administrative, duties that we have to still get through the day. So it's really busy. Sometimes I don't get off from work until 9 p.m. in the evening. So it's a really tough period.
So this is like a day in the life, right? So you're accustomed. So tonight is like a customary thing for you.
Customary, yeah.
Well, it's good to have you on, and I'm sure. I'm sorry to hear that it can become hectic. I love hectic, so hectic not for all. I love when it's busy and it's things are happening. It makes me feel like, oh, I'm accomplishing my goals, and stuff. So I don't mind hectic, and some people are just the same. And I'm happy that you can, I mean, having three phones, that sounds like a bit much, but I'm happy that you are able to still, do the processes, and get people up to date and come on here and share with us here this evening. So I want to get started with how does your role differ from that of the chairman of the electoral commission? So just to sort of, so
Well,
that are clear.
the electoral office is managed by the electoral commission, and on this commission we have 5 persons, and the chairman really steers the to do with policies for the electoral office. I conduct the administrative part of it, so I implement uh, whatever is decisions taken by the commission. They give me directions as to what where to go, what to do, and I perform the administrative part of it. So we have two different roles, really.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thanks for sharing that. And the chairman is Duncan Store, right?
Donkeys too, yes.
I know over the last couple of months, there's been a lot of discussions about voters confirmation and the process. For those of us hearing this for the first time, what exactly is the voter confirmation process?
The voter confirmation process is an electoral process that came about from the passage of the legislation, the Registration of Electors Act of 2025, which made it mandatory for every voter on the list to be confirmed. So it's a process where every voter is entitled to be confirmed. And this is done at a confirmation center. And there are several of them throughout the island. In every constituency, there is a confirmation center. Some of them have more than one, where voters can go in and to complete their process. Now, the confirmation period it began on October 15, 2025, and runs until October 15, 2026. So voters have, 12 month, we're now into the 6 month of it, but voters had 12 months to have themselves confirmed during that period. After which, if you have not completed that process, then you will not be on the new voters list.
Okay. So essentially, this is just a process to say that I'm a registered voter, and that I can vote in that constituency. Is that's
Well,
essentially what it is?
it's a little more than that. It's a little more than that. It's the opportunity to really update your name. For example, we have had some persons who have nicknames on the voters list. Probably you grew up in a community where you were called a nickname, say probably Pets, but your name might be Patricia, and your ID may be Patricia, say Patricia Greenaway, but you are Pets Greenaway on the list. So it gives you the opportunity to update your information as to your name, your correct name. So I know that has posed a lot of issues when persons go to vote on polling day. You go into the polling station and your name is, well, Patricia, and you may be looking for Patricia on the list, and
Right.
you are.
And you're registered as pets. So you're saying that it's important for them to do that within their constituency because people in your constituency would know you as pets as well.
Well,
And they
yes, but
verify that? Is that what it?
you have to go to your constituency to get confirmed. The place where you vote, that's where you go to do your confirmation. But I'm saying that it gives you the opportunity to update or to correct your name. We have had a lot of that, and it also will prove to us who is still alive as well. Although we receive a report from the registry, occasionally, like I think every 2 months, we get a list of persons who have died. But it gives us the opportunity to clean up the list, and this is one of the things that the public have been asking for. They have been crying out for to have a cleansed list. So it gives us the opportunity to cleanse the list. So persons who come in means are the persons who are alive. So if you're dead, you cannot come in to update your information or to get confirmed.
Right.
So at the end of the period, the list that is compiled will be a cleansed list, and I think that will help the public to have a little more confidence in the whole process, the electoral process, knowing that we took time to to update the list and to have that list cleansed.
How many people are on the old voters list? So the like approximately how many people are on that list?
Presently, we have about 74,000 persons on the voters list.
Wow. And how many people from that list have confirmed so far? Because we're 6 months into it.
Well, you cannot look at it like that because we have a number of persons who have migrated overseas. Throughout the years, persons have gone overseas, so they're no longer in Dominica. But for the 2019 election, we saw at least approximately 41,000 persons, 32,000 persons voted. So give and take. You can already compare the number of persons on the list now to say, well, okay, everybody will come in to get confirmed because persons migrate.
So you're expecting that within that 30, at least that 32,000 people will be confirmed or will come in to confirm.
Well, probably.
That's the hope.
Probably, yeah.
But to date, how many people have actually confirmed?
To date, we have had 15,421 persons.
So like less than half of what would have already voted in the last election has confirmed that they are who they are. They've verified their name, their address, and everything with their within their various constituency. So we're the halfway mark. I don't know if I want to say that's good. We're at the halfway mark, and half of that. But I would expect that more people should be voting based on now new voters or new people who would be eligible to vote. And that probably brings me to the question of registering to vote. Because there was a period of time where that had halted. And I mean, based on the act, I guess my understanding of the act is that registration, voting, registration to vote is a continuous process. And that had stopped during a period of time. Can you expand on why that had stopped and what is going on right now? Are people able to register? So new voters who would like to participate, are they able to register?
Okay, we as of today, we have 751 persons who have applied for registration. There was a period where registration could not take place, and that is simply because we moved into a new law, and we did not have the mechanism yet to really do registration. So, for example, in the old law, you had registration being done by a form where the registering officer would write up a form, on paper, and that was the process. Today, we have a new system, which is an electronic system. So we had to build a system in order to accommodate, in keeping with the law, the new law that was passed, the Registration of Electors Act of 2025. And so a new system had to be built. And it would have been illegal to continue registration in the old way. So the system had to be built, and we had to put in. Actually, we could not issue voter numbers. That was one of the issues. No new voter numbers could have been issued. So if a person would have had to be registered, then you could not have been assigned a voter registration number. So therefore, you could not have been on a voter list. So we had to wait until we had the system built, the software built, and we had the capacity to do registration electronically as the law now demands. So as of March, we began new registration with the new system as the law now demands that we do. So this was the reason for the period where we could not conduct any registration for that period. But I am pleased to report that the registration is ongoing as of March.
So new voters can go in and register.
New voters, yes, have been completing their process. And as I said, we have 751 persons who have already applied for registration.
Okay. Now, the application for registration, explain to me how that goes, because I don't know. So what is the application like for people to register to vote? Because, I hear things of the process might be slow. What is the process like? What is the estimate? Because, or if you could explain to me first, from the time I register, what is the final stage before I actually vote? If you could explain that to me first, and then probably you could explain to me the process.
Okay, when you go to we are now accommodating registration at the confirmation centers.
Okay.
Because the confirmation, the software that we use for confirmation is similar to that of the registration, and the end result is the same, which is a voter ID card. And at the centers for both confirmation and registration, you have to take a photo in order to have your voter ID cards printed. Okay. So therefore, that is the reason why it cannot be done. It could not be done on paper as usual. So it's now being done at the confirmation center. So a new voter, or a person who wishes to become a new voter enters the confirmation center with their ID. You have to be 18 years and above. You have to be a Dominican citizen or Commonwealth citizen who have been on the island for at least 12 months prior to your registration.
Wait a while. So I like that new inclusion in the law, where you are. So, for example, if I am a St. Lucian who's been living in Dominica for the past 18 months because I'm working in Dominica, I can register to vote.
Yes, once you have been here for at least 12 months before the date of which you register, yes, you are entitled, and you are 18 years and above, yes. Okay, and we have a number of Commonwealth countries. We have about 54.
Yes.
Recently, I saw some inclusions. I think there were 3 new inclusions on the Commonwealth list. So you can just Google it and you can see the list of countries that are Commonwealth countries. I want to say that Guadeloupe is not one of them. A lot of persons have been thinking that Guadeloupe is a Commonwealth country. It is not a Commonwealth country, so therefore, if you are from Guadeloupe, if you do not have a Dominican passport, then you are not eligible to be confirmed as a Commonwealth citizen. So the person wishing to become a new voter, they go to the confirmation center and they are given an application form.
Okay, so you said the 2 things that they need to have. They need to have ID proving that they're 18 or older, as well as if they're a citizen of their Commonwealth citizen. What should I have in my hands to prove that? Like, what proof do I need to bring with me when I come to the confirmation office?
Let me just separate it. Okay, let's look at the Dominican citizen first of all.
Yes.
If you're a Dominican citizen, you need a Dominican passport, or you can have your driver's license with your birth certificate, or your social security card with your birth certificate, or a passport size photo with an affidavit that is notarized by a Justice of Peace or Notary Public or Commission of Oaths, and your birth certificate.
So for example, students who are in like Dominica State College who are 18 years and above who would be eligible to vote because they're a citizen of Dominica plus they're 18 years and older. If they don't have a passport, because some of them may have never traveled, or they may not have a social security because they've not even started or entered the workforce, they may not even be driving, they can bring a passport size photo that is with an affidavit from a notary public. So any notary public in your community can do that for you, stating that you are who you say you are, along with your birth certificate.
Yes, the affidavit is in the form of Schedule 3. So this is a form that you get at the confirmation center. So you take it and you take it to your Justice of Peace along with your birth certificate and a photo ID, and you have to have there's a note that is written at the back of the photo saying that this is a true likeness of whatever your name is, and your affidavit notarized by the Justice of Peace or Commission of Notary Public along with your birth certificate.
Okay. One of the, people are asking questions in the chat, and I don't want us to get distracted.
Let me just deal with the Commonwealth citizen now.
Yeah, before you do that, I know people are asking questions, and I know you want to know the answers to the questions, but please listen to what she is saying. Listen to understand and not to respond. Please listen to understand and not to respond, because a lot of us like to listen to respond and not understand, because you are asking questions that she's answering to after she's already answered to it. I will not be bringing up any questions that have already been answered to. So please take note. Please listen to understand and not to respond. All right, continue, Chief.
Okay, so if you're a Commonwealth citizen and you have been on the island for at least 12 months, and you have been living in a particular polling district for at least 3 months, then what you need is your passport from the Commonwealth country from which you belong, and a government ID from that same country, along with the affidavit in the form of the third schedule, notarized by the Justice of Peace or Commission of Oaths or Notary Public. So for a Commonwealth citizen, you need three documents.
3 documents. So say that to us again.
For Commonwealth citizen, you have to be here for at least 12 months. And you need 3 documents. Your passport from your Commonwealth country, You need an ID, a government ID from that country, and also the affidavit in the form of Schedule 3, notarized.
Okay. So similar to what the person who in Dominica would be 18 years and over who didn't have a driver's license or all of that other stuff, that is the same Schedule 3 you're referring to, right? Okay, wonderful. We clear. Everybody clear in the chat? Give us a thumbs up if you're clear, if you're understanding that. I think I understand it now a bit clearer. So if you are from, for example, somebody's saying here, if I'm a St. Lucian, I've been living in Dominica for more than 12 months before I'm going to the confirmation office, I can register as a daughter to vote in Dominica, because once I have these 3 things completed, I can take them in and register to vote. All right. So continue now.
Okay, so you walk along, you walk along for witness from the same polling district. Okay? And that person has to witness on your application form. That person must be a registered voter in your polling district.
Okay.
Okay? So you have your IDs, you fill out your form, you present your IDs and your witness. Then your application is taken and then your information is entered on the computer. Now, at the centers, there are 2 screens, one for the data entry person and one for the voter. So you can see everything that's on your form is being entered on the database. So as your information is being put in, you can read along and check to see that your name is spelled correctly, your date of birth, and all your details are correct.
Okay.
Following that, your IDs are scanned. All the documents that you have, they are scanned and saved, and you sign on the marquee, and your photo is taken. Now we are asking persons when they go to whether for registration or confirmation, and you have to take a photo, and this is the photo that goes on your voter ID card. So therefore, we're asking persons not to wear sleeveless, not to wear white tops, to have their hair properly combed, no hats, no shades, no glasses, no sunglasses. We have made a few exceptions for Muslims who have to cover their heads, but for other persons, you come to take a photo. So we want to capture a proper photo of your face. Okay, once that is done, then your information is saved and it is transmitted directly to the electoral office.
Okay.
You are given a receipt to say that you have completed your process. Okay. The registering officer, who is the overall supervisor for registration in the constituency, will now collect those documents from the confirmation center, and she will check through and she will do her investigations on that person who have applied. So she will ensure that you have been living in that polling district for at least 3 months. Some persons, she will ensure that you have not been registered before, because persons may want to try that. They
So
have
like
been
you're registered in one place and you want to register in another. Okay.
So she will ensure, and she will check the voters list to see if you are already registered. And once she can determine that you're not yet registered, you have been in that polling district for at least 3 months, you are 18 years and above, and your ID is valid, then she will approve or recommend for your approval. These documents are dropped at the electoral office, where it goes through a verification process. So we also check our voters list to ensure that that person is not a registered voter. We check the IDs to see if it is up to date and not expired. We check the information that is entered on the database to make sure that the person's name is spelled correctly, and also that your witness is in the same polling district as you are. If the person is not from your same polling district, then we cannot accept that witness. So therefore, your application cannot be approved.
So the person must be within the same polling station as you.
Polling district.
Polling district as you.
Right.
Okay.
Then if everything is okay with that, then after it is verified, then there is a queue which I view on a daily basis. I will go into my queue to see what is there, and I give an approval of the registration.
Okay. So the queue that you receive has been already verified by the supervisor at each confirmation center.
Well, no, it has been given an approval or a recommendation by the registering officer first of all, and also we have a verification team here, so they have to go through verify, and give an approval at that stage that everything is okay. It's not the final approval. The chief election officer is the one who approves, has the final approval of the registration. But however, it's to just verify that your information is correct, you have met all the requirements, you have not yet been registered, you are a new voter, etc. And then I can also review, when it is in my queue, I can also review your information and check to see whether, check your IDs and so on. And then if I'm satisfied too, then I give the final approval. And that's the end of the process. Then your ID card can be issued.
What is the status of the ID cards in terms of issuing the cards to people? Because that is also a question, of from people. People want to know what happening to the ID cards.
I want to assure that at least by the end of June, early July, persons will have their ID cards.
Okay, so that is still in progress.
Kind of, I would say.
What is holding it up, if you mind me asking? What's the hold up?
Well, we have had to redesign the ID cards. The first design that we had, we did not find that it was the print, it was bold enough and it was clear enough that a person could take it to the polling station to get to vote. So we decided, the commission decided that we needed to redesign the cards. So we just had the cards. We just ordered a new batch of cards. So we should have them in place by the end of June, early July.
I like that you're being very honest, and you can say that, because sometimes people feel like it's like they cannot say, like it's not that big of a deal. Like, I lived in Canada, and there was one point in time, I remember the renewal of our driver's license. The printout of it wasn't clear, and they had to have a recall of everybody's driver's license because it didn't come out clear. And that is something that you can go online and you just renew your driver's license and your health card. They send it to you and you're good. The same thing happened when people were renewing their license, their plates. They done a blue plate because a new government came into power. They wanted blue plates. It didn't work. They had to recall everything and send it back. I mean, that's life, trial and error. Nobody's perfect. So I respect that you could say, hey, it didn't work. The design wasn't working. We had to go back to the drawing board so that it can be redesigned. But the hope is that people will have their ID card by June, July, because a lot of people are concerned and they want to know, hey, this confirmation process is supposed to go up until October. If by October I've not received, like right now we're at the halfway mark, I've not received my ID, what is the process? What is going on? People have these sorts of questions. Before we continue further, I want to go back in the chat because some people have some questions, and someone is asking, Marion is asking, if you are already registered as a Commonwealth of Dominica voter, but you no longer live in Dominica, can you confirm? And if you can confirm, what is the process? And if you can't confirm, what is the process as well?
Okay. The law demands that every voter on the list as of May 2025 is eligible to be confirmed. Okay? So whether you live in Dominica, you live overseas, but you are on that list of May 2025, you are eligible to be confirmed. And you must come to Dominica to be confirmed. There is no confirmation taking place overseas. And you must come to Dominica to a confirmation center, to that previous polling district where you voted before, and you come to that center to get confirmed.
Okay, thank you for that. Someone is asking, or just an observation and seeking clarity on this data entry at that center. My question is geared towards the process, which is somewhat archaic in 2026. Reporting to the confirmation office, filling out a form, overseen from the dual screen, the officer then fill out that information. Could these steps have been avoided through a pre-application process online? Can this not be a consideration to improve the process and potentially increase confirmation participation? Or is there a specific need to have that officer input the information? And that's a very good question.
It's a very good question. And I know a lot of persons have asked that same question. Can I take the forms? And can I have them filled out and come back? No, but the law, again, we move by the law. We are guided by the law. And we cannot do anything outside of the law. Okay? So the law states that you must have your form filled out in the presence of the enrollment officer. So for this reason, it cannot be done online. It cannot be taken from the center and go home and fill it out and come back with it.
Don't you feel that will deter people? That process just feels so, it feels...
Well, you see, the thing is, this is an electoral process. And you have to be careful with an electoral process. It's not a driver's license or it's not a social security card that you're applying for. It's an electoral process. And remember that persons within the Commonwealth of Dominica, they have been asking for a cleansed list. They have been asking for us to have, more confidence in the system. Mm-hmm. So, in other words, it is a process that is guided by the law, and it is not an ordinary process where you can just, take forms. It has to be under the supervision of the enrollment officer. You come in person, you come with your witness, you come with your ID, and you fill out your form. And I don't see that as any big deal to come into the center, because it's a process that is going quickly. It's not a process that you have to wait, or it's lengthy. It's user friendly, it's easy, and a lot of persons have gone. They had apprehensions before going into the centers. They were a little nervous or concerned. What kind of process is this? And then when they went, they reported that it's an easy process. No big deal, no big thing about it. It's
So I mean, you may say it's not a big deal, but for a young person, to get somebody to come with them to do this might seem a bit much. For a new voter, I'm telling you, the 2026 Gen Zs that we're dealing with, to get someone to come with them to an office, whereas we're living in a digital age where you could have just, personally, I feel like the people who created the law were probably not as digitally inclined as they should have been, because they could have easily filled it, because based on all what you said, someone has to confirm all the information you've entered is actually valid. Somebody has to confirm that. You're registering, yes, but it's still not, you're not confirmed until the person validates or confirms that information that you've submitted is the truth. That could have been done by simply filling out a form online. And I blame the people who put it in law, not
Mhm.
necessarily your process. I mean, like you say, you're following the process. I blame the people who put it in the law books, because if you put in a process in place that is a talenta, you're trying to get away from a talenta, but you're forgetting that we're living in a digital age where everything could have been done online. You could have scanned
Mhm.
all of your stuff online. It could have even been as simple as using a Google form, a Google Doc, and attaching your IDs, attaching all of that information, and it still goes through the process of that validation that it needs to go through. So I almost want to say an amendment to the amendment needs to be amended.
But you see, at the end of the process, what you want a error-free voters list. Okay?
But that
You
doesn't change.
want
That doesn't prevent
hold
you from having
on, hold
free.
on, hold on. You want to reduce every opportunity of fraud. You want to ensure that, the information that is presented is in fact authentic, is true and accurate. So,
I hear all of what you're saying and I understand what you're saying, but people can still do fraud, because I can come there and I can know the person that's in front of me, and I can boo them if I'm a good boo
you
right?
want to be censored?
Yes, I could boo them,
But
right?
well, that is why we have two levels of verification going on in the office. We have the first level. It goes to a first level of verifiers who verify the information, and then we have a second level of the senior staff who have been here for a number of years. We have one person who have been here for 19 years, another person who have been here for over 13 years. So we have a second level of verification. So it is not easy to escape. And then
It still
it,
comes to you.
it comes to me. So it is not easy to escape. I can tell you that much.
But I still think that the first level could have been
Mhm.
digitized, and you could still not have chance of escaping going through the two other people that it has to go through.
I doubt it. Because so far, our system even picks up duplicates. It is so sensitive that it picks up duplicates, and we have had some twin. We have had twin, okay, and the system has already picked up a twin. And I'm seeing two different features, but it's twin. But the system picked up that the person looks alike.
Mm.
So here, and then we have to stop here, and we have to go through the whole process when we get some, like a
Like
duplicate, or
between.
some photo that looks like a duplicate. So it's not easy like that. I can tell you so.
I believe that your process is a process that works. I believe I'm not questioning the process.
Mhm.
I'm just questioning based on what the observation that actually the person is Ashma who made that observation. I do believe that it could have been digitized, and you could have still done due diligence from the office as well as through you, and still have the information correct. Because when I registered to vote in Canada, I never had to do all that story. Like I filled out a documentation. I filled out something online. I uploaded my IDs, and then I received a confirmation that it would be like a receipt that it would be reviewed. And then after I received a confirmation in the mail, and then when it was time to vote, I received a slip to say that I can vote as a Canadian citizen. And I've never had to see anybody face to face. I never had to deal with anybody. And this is a country that deals with that handles millions of people, and I doubt there's chance for errors and people to, because you're dealing with a system that's digitized. So the digital system will pick up certain things. If you try to manipulate it, it will pick it up. I mean, there are cases where things do happen, right? And things can happen with dealing with people, right? So I believe that, the process could have been a little bit easier, because it does take away from the younger voters who might be interested, or who want to, or and I shouldn't say might, who should have a right to participate, who should participate in the voting process. I think it does take away from that. So that's something that you probably want to bring back to them, that they could take note of, like dealing with people who are forward thinking in terms of the digital world. it kind of it makes it very it's archaic, like she said. Another thing too she mentioned is the receipt of an email address is provided when you do the registration. Can the confirmation of the application be shared digitally as well via email? Is that something that happens? And maybe you could also answer that another question. Somebody asked another question lower down as to when the cards are available, will it be mailed or would you have to pick it up? Because imagine you traveling to Dominica to confirm and you don't get your card, you leave. Will you receive it in the mailing list in New Jersey, for example, or in your mail in New Jersey?
The cards can be mailed. It can be mailed.
Okay, so that answers that.
Yeah.
How about the digitization of
For registration, I believe we can email the receipt of confirmation or approval. Sorry.
okay, so that is available. All right. Hey Jael, somebody's asking, just want to confirm that you only need to be living in the constituent for 3 months to be approved to vote. But she said, okay, so for that person that has that question, I'm just gonna put up the question on the thing. The question is to confirm that you only need to be I think they meant living in a constituent for 3 months. I believe she said that if you're already registered to vote, to confirm, you can confirm once you've been living in the same constituency for 3 months. However, for people who are non-Dominican but within the Commonwealth space, you have to be living in Dominica for 12 months prior to confirmation or prior to registration, right? That is the clarity. I think she's confusing the timelines. So the 3-month timeline is for people who are already registered to vote. And that is
let me just make a let me just interject there.
yes, go ahead.
For registration, a person has to be living in a particular area for 3 months for registration. So for example, I want to register in Maho, but I live in Roseau. I cannot go to Maho to register unless I have been living in Maho for at least 3 months and I am 18 years and above. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I said. She probably got a little confused.
Okay. All right. So just for clarification, you need, if you're living in if you're living within Maho, you have to be living there for 3 months for you to be confirmed in Maho.
Registered
Or to be registered in Maho. If you're
different,
right,
confirmation is where you originally voted. You go back to that polling district to get confirmed. Okay?
Speaking of that, can you be transferred? So if
yes, transfer can be done, but you can. It's best to do your confirmation first, simply because transfer comes out on a list. September. That's printed in September. So if you transfer now, you're not going to see the change on a list. Okay? So it's better you get confirmed and then you do your process of transfer, because transfers will not reflect right away.
Okay. Somebody sent me a WhatsApp. Like they've been like pinging my phone. Someone sent me a WhatsApp. And the question is along the lines of whether or not people can. Let me just open it back. So the question was, if somebody has already registered to vote, you know what the question went. The person, the one view question. Send it again, and I will be sure to respond. Okay. All right. So somebody I believe she was just confirming some information. And let me go back to the questions that people are saying. Pre-application. Okay. Lots of questions coming in. There are gaps. Okay, so there are someone's saying that there are gaps and unreliability existing. How does that person validate everyone? So they're asking about the validation process. How do you validate everyone within your constituency?
You there is okay. When a person goes into the confirmation center, we're dealing with two different things, and I don't want us to get mixed up with confirmation and registration. When you're going to apply for confirmation, okay, you go to your polling, you go into your confirmation center. They first have to check on the voters list to see that person is a voter on the list in that particular district.
So confirmation is for people who are voters.
Right. Who are on the list as of May 2025. So if you're going to get confirmed, you're going to apply for confirmation, you have to be on a list. So when you go into your confirmation center, the enrollment officer will check your name on that list, okay, to see if you are a registered voter. And then you produce you present your ID so that they can validate that this is one and the same person. So let us suppose you have a nickname. So as I said, your name, your nickname is on the list as Pet, but your real name is probably Petula. Okay? Then you would need to have an affidavit. You would have to go to a justice of peace and get that regularized or notarized that Pet is Petula according to your ID. And then you can complete your process. So your proper name, which is on your ID, is entered on your form and on the database.
Okay.
All right?
Mm-hmm. Everybody clear on that? Everybody clear? All right. All right. People are sending in questions. How long do you get your card? I did this 2 months ago. I'm 62 years old. Okay. When I was here. Okay. The cards. So the cards, the confirmation, people want to know about their voter cards. What is the process of receiving the cards? You mentioned that it can be mailed out to folks. Is that something that is going to be considered across the board? So everybody who's already confirmed can expect it in the mail? Or is there going to be a process where some people may have to come in to get their cards versus, so what is the process like for the cards? Because this lady obviously is an elderly lady, and I'm sure she probably doesn't want to make 10,000 trips all over the place to figure out where her card is, how she's going to get her receive her card. What is the process once the cards are available? What would be the process?
Okay, cards can be picked up at the electoral office once ready, or what we will do, we will make announcements on the radio. So for example, let us say we going to say Granby, we will make an announcement to say persons from Granby who have been approved, those names have been approved on the, and we post the list every month on the website with those who have been approved. So we probably say persons from A to whatever, who are already approved. We will be distributing cards at that center from that time to that time. So persons can come to the center and we'll be able to pick up their ID cards. Those who want to do it at the office can come with proper identification, and they will be issued their cards at the office. For persons who are overseas,
So you need ID to pick up your ID.
well, if I present myself and I say, hey, I come with my social security card, or I come with my passport, just like when you go and pick up a check, you need to have your ID. You go for a check, and I say, my name is Unfair. I will need my ID to pick up a check. Okay?
Well, I don't need an ID to pick up an ID.
So what if we have twin and we have say
identical twins? One person come and they say, but if I'm an identical twin, I will not say I'm my twin when I'm me.
you need your ID to come to pick up your card, and you will have to sign to pick up your cards, okay?
Okay, on here, you need your ID to pick up your card. Case closed, end of story, period. And then there'll also be announcements. I have a question along the lines of the confirmation process for people who may be at work in one constituency, and because I'm hearing a lot of people saying, I registered to vote in Vacas. I'll use me for example, although I'm not registered to vote in Vacas, but I'll use me as an example. I'm registered to vote in Vacas. However, I live in Roseau. Confirmation is happening in my constituency in Vacas. I'm only able to probably go to Vacas on the weekend because I work and I live in Roseau. What is the process like for somebody like me?
Okay, we have just launched a new centralized voter confirmation system or process whereby we will be conducting confirmation in Roseau for the odd districts, and we will do a one constituency every Tuesday. So a different constituency will be taken every Tuesday. So today we had Laplin and Delis at the stadium. Okay, so today, yes. Next week, we will have Mount John River, Cyric, and Grand Four next Tuesday at the stadium. So what you need to do is work with your IDs and your witness and go to the stadium. Okay, so we are bringing confirmation to Roseau for the all districts to make it easy so persons can complete their process. The following week, we'll have Cassie Bruce, that's the April 28th. May 5th, going to be Portsmouth. May 12th, Cottage. May 19th, Vacas. May 26th, Paybush. June 2nd, Marigot. June 9th, Granby. June 16th, Petit Savan. June 23rd, Collio. June 30th, Wesley. July 7th, Salibier. July 14th, Salisbury. July 21st, St. Joseph. July 28th, Soufriere. And the rest, it's posted on our website, the electoral office website, so you can go there and check to see on which day your constituency will be coming to Roseau. Your confirmation center will be coming to Roseau at the Windsor Park Stadium, Sports Stadium, to conduct confirmation for persons living in Roseau.
All right, so that's good to know. So take notes. I'm sure that also be posted on the Facebook page as well. A lot of Dominicans tend to frequent Facebook, so take note of that. So if you, we'll tag the information you need. People are asking questions that we've already responded to. Sorry that you jumped on late, but the information was some of the questions you're asking has already been answered. So that's somebody asking, what do they need to provide for proof of address? For proof of address. Oh, that might be a question you might want to answer. What do I need to provide for proof of address?
Well, we never ask persons to bring in proof of address. We have the list printed by polling districts. Okay, so if I vote in Canefield, my name will not be on say St. Joseph list.
Okay.
All right. So that's the first thing. Your names are printed by polling districts. So wherever you vote, you go to that, where you find out where your confirmation is situated, and you go there. Your name will be on the list, okay? And you walk with your IDs, as I've been saying earlier, either your passport, your social security card, or your driver's license, or a photo ID with your affidavit and your birth certificate. That is for confirmation.
Okay. So I hope that is clear for those of you who are asking, who asked that question. You don't need a proof of address. You just need a few things. She mentioned them earlier on in terms of the IDs that you need, the IDs that you require to bring in when you're confirming, as well as who you're supposed to bring with you when you're going through that confirmation process. People have concerns, obviously, about the process, and some people even stating that they feel like the process feels a bit strenuous, almost like there's an attempt to prevent people from going through the process. And I hope that is not the case, because rightfully said, it seems like it's a bit much to go through a confirmation. I mean, I get the IDs aspect of it, but to get somebody to come with me I mean, so anybody can come with me and say anything. Like, why do I need to bring somebody with me every time I'm going, or if I'm going to confirm, if I have the documentation that is required? Like, I don't see, and that is just my humble opinion on that. I don't see why I need to bring another person with me. Um, what are you satisfied so far with the turnout you've had in terms of confirmation to date?
Well, we are in the 6th month of the process, or halfway the process, okay? And what the team of the electoral office, we have gone out to the public. We have gone through the length and breadth of Dominica for various communities, and we have gone to promote confirmation by night, stopping different communities with loudspeakers, and kind of promote the confirmation period and the process and what is really required and so on. We interacted with people on the ground, and one of the things that we are hearing is that persons are saying, I have up till October 2026, October 15, 2026 to get confirmed. So when a lady said to me, what's the rush? I have time. And knowing the culture of Caribbean people, we are people, we like last minute. If you look at Christmas Eve, you will see people in Roseau, in supermarket, long lines, trying to get stuff when they had a whole week.
Let me tell you, plenty times that long line is because they don't get their money on time. Don't come and say nothing about. Don't come and say nothing about last minute, because we like to get our stuff early during Christmas. We don't get the money on time. Is when we get the money, we come Roseau. But
I think the Caribbean people have a culture of last minute. I think people are waiting. They're saying that they have time, and probably by the time July hit, July, August, you're going to start to see an increased number of persons coming to the confirmation centers to have their process, because I know Dominicans, they love to participate in the electoral process. Dominicans love to vote. Let's face it.
I was gonna actually ask you, like, what communities are performing better in terms of the confirmation process? Like, are you seeing some communities doing better than other communities, and what communities you see dwindling a little bit?
I think some of the communities I've seen that have been really pushing a lot, Roseau Central, Roseau South, Soufriere, Vekas, maybe I would say Salisbury probably is lagging a bit, Salisbury community, and probably Marigot too, Carib Territory. These three, I think they're lagging a bit.
Kalinago Territory.
Kalinago. Thank you for the correction. But we have been seeing some communities, some constituencies, they are pushing a lot.
So Marigot, Salisbury, Kalinago Territory need to step up their game in for the confirmation
They
process.
need to step up a bit here. But basically, I believe people will turn out to, as I say, we are halfway the mark. So closer to the time, because, at the end of the process, the end of the confirmation period, if you have not yet completed your process, then you are not eligible to vote. And we know what happened when, like, for example, when the writs were being issued and persons had up to midnight to get registered. You would see people flooding the registering officers last minute to get registered to vote.
So do it now.
So I am saying that I suspect towards the as August, maybe July, August, September, you're going to see a rush of persons because they want to participate and they would not like to know that the process has ended, the confirmation period has ended, and they're not on the voters list as yet. So I believe people will come out, and
Are there other challenges you have besides the challenge of people waiting last minute?
Well, one of the challenges is that persons were saying that they, it was kind of difficult to access their constituencies, to go back to their constituencies, because probably the hours that they work in town and so on, and to access so that's why we decided we're going to bring it into the city, Roseau, to allow persons to the opportunity. And we are also going to areas that, probably, that feel that it's hard. Like Maho is a very large constituency, and you have Maho, Campbell, Warner, Taru, having to Layo Park, having to come into Maho to complete the confirmation. So what we are proposing, or we are planning to do, we're going to use the mobile kits, and we're going to go out to various communities. We'll be going to Warner, the Warner School, where we will have a day of confirmation, and we will, promote it so persons will know, and they will be able to come to Warner, to the school to get confirmed. We will be going to Campbell. We have gone to Waterhaven, we have gone to Mount Prosper, we have gone to Bells. So we're going to be doing, initiatives like those, taking it closer to the people. And we have mobile kits that we will use. So we will announce it in advance, and we expect persons to turn up if we we take it closer to them, to complete the process. While we're on that, I want to say that we also go to the homes of the elderly.
I was about to ask, it was coming. The question was coming. You could sense it.
The vulnerable persons who are unable to, they're not mobile. We can come to your homes. All you have to do is register with your confirmation center, or you register the electoral office. You can call us on our hotline, or we have a number of extensions here that you can call, that you can register your name, and they're all on our website. If you go on the website, you will see we have also posted a list of or a schedule for the mobile kit for the vulnerable persons. So you can go on the website, ask your families to, to log on and to check for you to see when we're coming to your community. We also put out an announcement in advance. So when we go into a community, we will announce it so persons can hear and they can prepare their persons. And so what people need to do right now is to put in place the necessary documents that are needed for the vulnerable and the elderly. So when we get there, the day that we get there, when we go to the homes of those persons, that they have the necessary documents that are needed for confirmation, and to get them ready, prepared, like comb their hair, put a proper clothes for photo, so that when we get to the house, that the person is not unprepared, or they do not have their documents. So that's why we went ahead and we prepared a schedule, and we placed it on the website and a few media platforms. We have been advertising it so that persons can be aware when we are going to be visiting their area, and they can also call the office as well to register their names, so that when we come to your community, we will not miss anyone.
Ms. Joseph, I want to ask this question, and that has to do with protecting people's data. What safeguards are in place to protect people's data? Because based on what you're saying, like you're collecting a lot of data. You're collecting information from my birth certificate. You're collecting information. I mean, people to make a passport, all you need is a birth certificate, and you have my picture, you have my birth certificate, you have all of these things. What safeguards are in place to protect my information?
Every worker with the electoral office, including the enrollment officers at the confirmation centers, they have to take oaths. Okay, everybody had to take oaths, and that is to ensure secrecy, integrity, and that you will not breach protocol or leak out any information as it pertains to persons' personal data or personal information. that so if anybody reports that, that person will be dealt with, and there are penalties as well in the law that will deal with such such misconduct. So persons had to take an oath. Every worker had to take an oath, and that is in order to safeguard. And there was training. We had to train the officers before they began work. And one of the things that you have to be neutral, you have to be a person, a very confidential person, professionalism. So I think our officers are well trained and they took oaths, so they know their boundaries. So just to ensure safety, and confidentiality in what we do.
There's another question or a concern. I have a concern here where IDs are printed. If someone transfers after the ID has been prepared, how does that affect presenting at the poll you may have transferred to? Because I was advised I couldn't transfer before the confirmation. Now that she's mentioned that the polling district is going to be placed on the ID, then transfer would make a lot of sense before approval of confirmation.
Okay. Let me just backtrack a little bit. One of the things that the contractors advised when we were building the software, they advised us to issue cards at the end of the process, just to safeguard if a person were to transfer. Get confirmed, you get your card, and then you decide you are going to transfer. But if a person now transfers, and you already have your card, then it means that a new card will have to be issued for that person.
Okay.
Okay. So there is an application form in the law that will be available, so you can come to the electoral office, collect the form, and you make an application for a new card, and the card will state exactly why you want your card replaced, whether it's because of
Transfer
reason, transfer or destroyed. So we made accommodation for that. Okay.
Is there a charge for that? Would there be a
yes, there is a fee. I think there's a fee of $100 for replacement of cards. If it has damaged or destroyed or negligence. As for transfers, I will do a little more research as to what our procedure is. Okay, so we will put out some information on that. So as soon as we start to issue cards, we will put out information on that so persons can be aware of how that the cards are supposed to last for 10 years, a 10-year period. Okay, so we will we will educate the public with regards to the issuing of cards and replacement of cards, etc.
Wonderful. What happens if someone does not participate in the confirmation process? Can you reiterate that? Because some people feel like I registered to vote, I've been voting, I vote in every freaking election. What story that? A confirmation Zafe. If you're not confirmed, what will happen to you next?
Okay. As of October 15, 2026, let me just say that the law also it makes accommodation. If the commission is not satisfied, they can extend for another 3 months. They can, okay? But we do not know if that will happen. So let us say the October 15, 2026 is the last day for confirmation. If you do not get confirmed within that stipulated time, then you will not get onto the new voters list that is now being compiled, okay? You will not get onto the new list, and therefore you will not be able to participate in future elections if you are not on the list, except if you want to re-register in the future.
Okay. So you can re-register if you
in the future if you want to, okay? So if you are not confirmed and the list is issued, and let's say the writs are issued for an elections and you're not on the list, then you cannot
So confirmation ends in October, right?
October 15th.
October 15th. But voting, registering to vote continues.
Yes, it continues.
So because the only time that it ends is when the parliament has been, the cabinet has been dissolved, right? That's how it
Once
works.
the writs are issued, right before we had up to midnight. Okay, so persons must be careful with that. Before we had up to midnight, so when the writs were issued, you could run to your registering office and say, "Hey, I want to get registered before midnight." But right now, it is not in the law anymore. It has been removed. So the midnight thing. So if the writs are issued, let us say confirmation ends on the 16th, and let us say the writs are issued on the 30th of October, and you're not confirmed, you're not registered. You do not have. You can, if you register, you will not be on the list, so you will not be able to vote.
Oh, wow. So it's automatic. So as soon as the writs are issued, you no longer have an opportunity to register to vote.
No. So that is why we are encouraging persons, those who are eligible to be registered, you are 18 years and above, please get registered. Young people, get registered. If you are on the voters list as of May 2025 and you are not yet confirmed, please get confirmed. Get onto the list. Please, we are encouraging persons to participate. Tell your mother, tell your brother, tell your sister, tell your uncle, tell your neighbor. Get confirmed so that you can be on the new list that is being compiled. You don't want to be left out.
Do we have access to that list? Like now somebody is asking, can I access the current confirmation list if I need to know who's on the list? So, if I've already confirmed and I just want to be sure, or if I just want to be able to access the list, is that accessible?
Yes, we publish a list every 15th for confirmation. Every 15th of every month, there is a list that is published for the previous month, okay? And that is on the website of the electoral office. So you can go there and you can check the list to see if your name is there, if you have already completed your process and you want to know whether you have been approved and you're on the list, you can go on the website and you can look for your name on the website as per polling district or constituency. Also, for the registration, it's slightly different. There are quarterly lists that are preliminary lists that are printed every quarter for registration. So even if you complete your registration and you're approved, no, we will not see your name on the list until the preliminary list is due. And the next preliminary list that is due is June 1st.
Repeat that.
For registration.
For people, so new people registering.
You're right. New people registering, your names will be printed on the preliminary list, which is published every quarter. We have 4 quarters in the year, so the next quarter will be June 1st.
Okay.
Okay. So if you have registered from between March and June, March and May, then you can look for your name on the June 1st supplementary list.
Okay. All right. I have a poll of questions, and I hope I can get through it. People have been sending questions, and also to reading through some of the questions before I share them with you, because some of them may have been answered. If we run into anything that's already been answered, we'll just keep it moving. Somebody saying that there are claims that some eligible voters may have been unable to register in time for previous elections. How do you respond to concerns about possible disenfranchisement?
I am not aware of that, so I will not be able to comment on that.
Okay. Next question. What assurances can you give young or first-time voters who may feel left out in the process?
Well, you now have the opportunity to, if you have, young persons who have already registered, probably, say 23, 24, you have already registered, okay? You can get confirmed. And if you are not yet registered, registration is open. It's open. So you can go to your confirmation center and get registered.
I have a question. I mean, and I feel like to some extent, people
Mhm.
feel that the challenges that you guys have gone through, like with the when the process was halted for voting, sorry, for registering and so forth, and even now the delays with people getting the ID cards. And some persons feel that challenges as such as have impacted the trust or their trust in the electoral process. Do you believe public confidence has been affected based on this process between May to date?
Well, you have different views, okay? You have different views from different persons. I've had persons who have gone to the confirmation center and they reported to me that the process was very easy and transparent and there was no hidden agenda. Um, First of all, I want to say that the electoral process is conducted by the electoral office and it is not by any political party. So
Hey, repeat that and say that louder for
I
the
said
people back.
the electoral process is conducted by the electoral office and not by any political party. So when you go to the confirmation center to conduct your process, it's the electoral office staff who is conducting your process. Okay. So I'm saying that to say that some persons have, they have different views as to. At first, they were saying that, oh, probably when they go to this, they didn't know who they would meet at the centers, etc., and so on. So you see now that this is electoral office staff. So you should not be afraid to go to the centers and to conduct your process. Okay. I think some persons reported that the process was quite easy, and some persons who have already seen their names approved and posted on the list that is on the website, they feel confident and they feel that the process is going. But there are some other persons who may have other motives, political motives, and may criticize the system for their own personal agenda or their own personal reasons. So people have different views. But I know what we do at the electoral office. We try to do our best. We try to offer the best service to the public. We try to give the best advice to persons. We try to treat everybody fairly, equally, with integrity, transparency. There's no hidden agenda. There's no hidden. Um, it's an open process, and I just want people to participate. I just want people to participate, and soon we're going to have the ID cards, and the public will feel a little more comfortable and a little more, satisfied when they have the ID cards in their hands. So we're working hard towards that, to getting the cards to you so that you can have your cards in your hand, and we're trying our best here.
Some people, I mean, we live in a very small society, right? And I know you say, everybody's a staff and whatnot, but somebody's saying here, when in Sufria, all of them in the office are only from one political party. Why should I not be afraid of that?
Well, persons, when we advertise for enrollment officers, right? And we have on staff now, we have about 104 enrollment officers. Okay, so you can imagine how difficult it is to get persons for a 1-year contract. We advertised, and the advertisement went out several times on all media houses, and persons came in, they applied, they were shortlisted, they were interviewed, they were given a test. Okay, and that is how we selected persons. Okay, so I couldn't be biased towards somebody because you are a supporter of a certain political party. You took your oath and you assured the public that, or the electoral office, that you were going to conduct your job with fairness and balance, for both sides. So how could you deny somebody? Everybody have their own political affiliation, Okay, every person have their political affiliation, But for the enrollment officers, they understood that they were not to be out there in any political rallies, just like those at the electoral office here. We cannot participate in electoral rallies. We cannot be out there on political platforms. But everyone has their own political persuasion, or that's
Yeah.
at the end of it all. But is you don't have to put it out there in front. That's your personal persuasion that you have to manage with integrity and confidentiality as a worker of the electoral office, or any the confirmation centers an extension of the electoral office. Okay, so
Thank you, Ms. Joseph. Some persons have said that communication around the process has not always been clear.
mhm.
What improvements can the public expect in terms of communication moving forward?
Okay. We have been on the radio, we have been on the different media houses all over. We have done live programs, we have done pre-recorded programs. From time to time, we put out information, we put updates.
Digital though, or y'all kind of lacking, digitally, like y'all need to step. I mean, I doesn't. All you kind of lacking, because I personally have. I don't listen to radio, and that's from somebody who's been on radio for years. I don't listen to radio. I consume most of my information by going online. I will go to a media house's website. I may go on their Facebook page. I may go to various places, but I don't put, I'm over 40. Much as for those youngins that coming in, they're not interested in
We have catered for all age groups. We have catered. We have
But
all.
I was gonna say, I personally have not seen anything come on my timeline as it relates to electoral processes or procedures or confirmation. I've not seen any sponsored ads on anything, and I mean, I'm online. My average use is 7 hours a day. Online. So, and I've not seen anything. So that is something that I would like you to look into, particularly with young voters or young potential voters who are online a lot. And we are very much being we're absorbing a lot of North American political issues and all of what's going on outside, and I'm not seeing a lot coming in from you as well as within. It always feels like it's a last minute thing. It always feels like it's late, it's delayed, or it's an afterthought. And I think like more of that should be done, and you could utilize influencers in Dominica. You could utilize. I'm just throwing out there, not saying that I want you to utilize me. There are multiple other people that can be utilized, right? In terms of putting out the information, whether you use their platforms for disseminating the information, whether you do sponsored ads, whether you do, more of these kinds of interactions, because everybody not on radio listening, like young people, I can tell you, young people don't look, somebody saying TikTok, the short TikTok videos, they work 30 seconds. Hey, you, maybe it funny, be it comical, be thing to get young people to participate. I don't think it's a problem of participating. It's a problem of not knowing when to participate and if they can even participate. Because if I had to look at it, and I'm going to be very frank with you, during an eyelash appointment, I learned half of the stuff about the Dominica electoral procedure. I had an eyelash appointment with somebody who happens to work with the electoral office, and I started asking questions, and that is when I learned majority of what I know today about it. And I'm over 40. Much as for these young people who have probably zero interest in the process, they need to get that be able to consume that information. It needs to be placed or disseminated in a way that is palatable for their short time span, online, as because I don't expect young people to look at what we just did tonight. I expect people probably 35 and above viewing this right now. I don't expect people in their 20s to be on viewing this unless probably their mother watching it and they're watching in the back with their mother. That is usually the case. So I think there needs to be a bit more digitization of information to people. I know like some of the platforms have restrictions in terms of what you can boost from a political, because they don't want people encouraging people. Anytime it speaks politics, it tends to prevent you from boosting certain things. But disseminating the information is out there. You're able to access it easier for reels on Instagram, on TikTok, as well as on Facebook, which is generally a Dominican platform. But for young people, it's TikTok, Instagram Reels, photos on Instagram, pictures, that kind of stuff. That is what they're absorbing. And I want more young people to participate, and I don't think they're gonna participate if they don't have the information to know how to participate, go about participating. Whether you do things in the colleges, in the, to get do something at the college and whatnot. I think more young people need to be informed of the process to make it easy. So probably that's something you could take up, even doing a confirmation, or not a confirmation, but a registration at the college, so people can come, at least do a pre-registration there, so that, they get an understanding or a feel. It's their first time. They don't know the process. They're probably timid about it. They're not sure. And they're probably saying too, oh, what is the point? I know a lot of people are saying, what's the point in doing this when it's going to be the same thing, the same outcome? People are saying that. This is things that people are saying on the ground. And I believe it's your right as a Dominican to participate. Whether you choose whatever you choose, it's your right to participate. So just some along the lines of communication and ways in which you can improve, just some of the things, some of my personal suggestion. Obviously, based on feedback and concerns raised publicly, there have been adjustments that have been considered to improve the process, and I commend you guys on the process. I feel too, though, that there was a bit of lag in disseminating why there was issues in the process. I mean, and I feel like we're in 2026. People understand shit happens, and you should not feel. I know sometimes we want to appear to be perfect when we work within a system, but there's no perfect system. There's no perfect system. So when things arise, because that takes trust away significantly. People stop trusting the process, and I know you guys have lost a lot of trust. I've heard it. I've heard people talk about it, and you are supposed to be an unbiased entity, providing information to people, and allowing people the right to register or confirm, and to hear how people feel about that, because the list was closed. People couldn't register to vote, and people are like, well, it's my constitutional right to why is it? And for the longest time, people didn't know why. It was a simple response that, hey, the law changed. We have to amend certain things. We have certain things that we know we're not ready for. Just saying that, and people tend to be more understanding, and rather than not saying anything and leaving it to assumptions, and then people start thinking that there's bubble or there is something else involved in it when there isn't. I mean, just sitting through my last appointment, I felt so much more confident after, hearing some of the answers, some of the questions that I have. I'm like, why didn't we hear about this months ago? I think all of that could have been avoided. I know you guys do public meetings on the first Friday of every week. Can you share a little bit on that? Where do you have a public meeting that happens every first?
No, I'm not aware of that. No.
There's a public meeting.
No.
You guys had a public meeting on Friday last week to address some of your concerns. Was that what it is? Probably.
Well, that was an interest group who invited the electoral office. They wanted to have a one-on-one.
Okay.
With the chairman of the commission and the chief election officer. So we are open to meeting with groups, those who want to get information, interest groups, and organizations. We have had invitations for various organizations who would like us to come to speak with their staff and so on how to get confirmed and what is needed, etc. So we are willing to do that and to engage the public a bit, groups, interest groups, and organizations, as you know.
Wonderful. Looking ahead, how will this process impact the future elections in Dominica? How do you see that impacting?
Well, first of all, we will have a new compiled list. This is what the public have been asking for: a cleansed list, and a list that is with few errors. As I mentioned earlier, that there were nicknames and names issues with names, so now people have the opportunity to correct and update their names.
So the dead people will be out of the list.
Well, let me just clarify that. We receive a list from the registry all the time. We receive at least every 2 months. We receive a list of all the persons who have died. Okay, so we have the opportunity to remove them through the list that we get from the registry.
How does that come through to you? Is it just like, is there detailed information on it, like a death certificate that you receive?
Well, no, we do not receive the death
I'll tell you why I'm asking this. My concern is that people have similar names in same constituencies, and just a simple error can mess up a whole. Somebody can get removed when they're not actually supposed to be removed. That can happen, right? So how do you capture that information from the registry?
Okay. When we get a list, there is the date of birth, okay? The details, there is a detail column. So we go and we look for that particular name and make sure that the information matches and by constituency. So it may be very unlikely to have a name in a constituency that is the wrong person with the same date of birth, if you understand what I'm saying. So that's what we do. We get a detailed list with the date of birth of the person, date of death, the constituency, the person have middle initials or so on, and then we look for them on the voters list, and they can be removed. Also, we also receive from persons who have passed. Their family some persons bring in the death certificate of their families, and we also use that as well. So different methods to use. But we always have proof before we can remove somebody's name on the list as dead. Okay.
Wonderful. All right. And finally, what's your message to every eligible voter watching tonight?
Well, I want to encourage the public, Dominican public, to participate in the process that's ongoing now. Those of you, well, every voter, once you are on the list of May 2025, we want to encourage you to get confirmed. Do so now. Don't wait until the end of the process. Do so now. Come and participate so that your name can appear on the new list and that you can participate. Because some persons may say, I'm not interested. And then later down, when you hear election call, boy, I wish I had gotten confirmed. Spread the word. Go to your family members. Encourage your family members to come and participate. Those who are registered already, come and participate in the confirmation process. Okay, so we are trying our best, and we trying to, increase our confidence. That the public can have more confidence in what we do, and we are willing to come on various media platforms to clarify issues, to have dialogues like tonight, to speak to the public, as all the questions that you may have on the process, that we can clarify, and you can get rid of some of the rumors and some of the negative the negative thoughts that persons have.
Yes. Okay, so of the 15,000 who have applied for confirmation, how many of them have actually been approved?
Well, we just put out a list. I think today's I think yesterday, and that is for the period as of the 30th of March. Okay, so we put out for the previous month. So the figure that you see there is not up to today's date.
Okay, because it
So
said just over 5,000 have actually been approved.
as of the 30th of March, we have about 4,000 persons. 30th of March,
So only 4,000 people have been approved.
4,000 have been
What is
approved.
the hold up in the confirmation process?
Well, as I said, there is a rigorous verification process that is taking place after. But we have plans to improve that, and we have some measures that we have put in place, and persons will see a lot more persons being approved. Okay, so I just want to let you know that we have some new initiatives that are being put in place so that you can see an immediate increase in the number of persons. I'm not at liberty to say exactly what it is, but
Okay.
yeah.
So someone is saying thanks for your response, Chief, but it is for efficiency and accuracy. Voter confirmation and transfer process should have been synchronized, allowing for simultaneous verification and updating of voter information. Separating the two creates unnecessary gaps that can lead to errors, delays, and potential disenfranchisement because someone can be confirmed but in the wrong location. So many areas for improving efficiency from this discussion tonight, but thanks for the information and thanks for sharing.
I don't know. I really don't see how a person can be confirmed in the wrong area. If I am registered to vote, I have been voting in a particular polling district, I must return there to get confirmed. Okay, so I don't know why that you know
I don't know if that is they're probably responding based on their own experience. And if you that has been your own experience, please contact the electoral office so that can be resolved. Because like the chief said, nobody should be should be confirmed in a place that they're not from or in the wrong place. They should be confirmed in their constituency. Thank you very much to you, Ms. Joseph, for coming on this evening. I know it was longer than we expected. We were expected to be on here for 1 hour. It's almost 2 hours since we've been on. But I think we did throw out a lot of questions. And if there were other questions, I guess they didn't come up. So nobody else had any additional questions. I did my best to answer every single question that came up on my timeline. And I hope that everyone was satisfied that they had their questions dealt with. I want to say thanks to you for you coming on. I know these are long days and long nights, and taking time out of your schedule to come in and speak with us, speak to my audience, and inform them. And I want to encourage you to continue doing the work that you're doing. I know it might feel like a lot, it might feel hectic, but we are depending on you. So I put in I put in a little pressure. We're depending on you to ensure that we get our cards in time. So by the end of hopefully July, and the confirmation process is complete. When the confirmation process is completed in October, that we all can receive our cards and we can all be eligible to vote, or those people who are eligible to vote can have an opportunity to participate in the voting process if an election is called at any time. And it's very important that everyone participates as long as you're eligible to. So thank you very much, Ms. Joseph, and to your entire team, Ms. Julian and Mr. Stowe and everybody else. Thank you very much for taking the time out to come and speak with us, with my audience. I would like to give you the final say to wrap up before we end this evening.
Well, as I have been saying all through the program, I just want to see persons participate in the process, get confirmed, get confirmed, get confirmed. Thank you. It was a pleasure being here.
Get confirmed. Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night.
Bye bye. That's it, guys, for us this evening. So thank you very much to the Electoral Office for joining us here on the show. But I want to say thank you in a big way to all those of you who tuned in, those of you who shared, those of you who participated, those of you who shared with interest, those of you who came on here really interested to know. I want to encourage you to share this information with others, your family, friends, your group chats. You know, those little group chats where people talking like they know everything and they have no idea. Share that information so people can be informed on what they can do in order to participate in either registration to vote or confirmation. A lot of information we'll share here this evening. You can go back and view. You can go back on YouTube. The video will be available on YouTube as soon as this ends. It'll also be available here on Facebook for the next month. So you can always go back and check out the video. But I encourage you to check out the YouTube page, and you will have this information on there as long as I have a YouTube page. I want to say thank you very much in a big way to my producers, as well as the sponsors of tonight's show, the National Cooperative Credit Union, Perky's Pizza, Best Price Dominica, Cash and Carry, Fresh Market Health, Beauty and Cosmetics, Massa Assist, the Glam Experience Day Spa, and Crazy Carrot Dominica for their support here this evening. We'll be back tomorrow with the folks from the Day Bosch. Will be stopping off tomorrow, and we want to know, we want to talk. We want to find out what's going on our island, and we want to get the information as the information unfolds. Thanks to all those of you who tuned in again, and I'm saying good night for now, but we'll be back tomorrow, so stay tuned for that and more. Bye-bye.
I get up.
Boy, I hungry.
Wait, consider.
Take advantage of Perky's Pizza's college student discount. Spend $10 to $50 and